And now we've got to climb over all this again to go back for the camera, because YouTube. So a very good morning and welcome back to another video. Welcome to the channel if you've seen me for the first time. My name is Chris, I'm a landscape photographer from the UK. Today I've come down to the coast and it looks like we're going to get a bit of a sunrise. We've got that sort of low but medium altitude cloud and the sun's going to appear in a little gap just underneath it, and all that cloud up in the sky is going to go glorious colour and it's going to look amazing. So we're at Hayburn Wyke. There's a beach down there, it's low tide-ish, and there's a waterfall off just to my right hand side as well. We're going to get some photos of that. But I think first off, we're going to get down onto the beach and start doing some long exposures as all this colour appears in the sky. So let's get stuck in and go take some photos with this 7D and a 10 to 18mm EFS lens from Canon. Cool. Okay, so this is quickly becoming one of the scariest places I've ever had a camera set up, let alone to video it. So let's go ahead. I'm going to take this photograph. So, I've put a 3-stop ND filter on the front of the camera. So I've got the Canon 7D set up with the 10 to 18mm lens at 10mm, which is giving a full frame equivalent field of view of a 16mm lens. So we're at f11, a 10-second exposure, and ISO 100. Now, as you can see just behind me, the sun's just come up. So it's just going to start shining some nice warm light on these cliffs off to my right hand side. There's a little bit of haze in the air as well, so there's a little bit of, I don't know if it's a little bit of spray or a little bit of haze, but that's going to start catching the light very nicely as well in a second. So there's that image taken. I'm going to show that to you, and I'm going to chill out for a few minutes and just think about the next composition. Alright, so as you may be able to see now, the tide is coming in and the sunrise has all but gone. So what I did, I took my 7D right as far as I dare go towards the water, because as the waves was coming in, it was crashing all this white water over the dark rocks. So I thought I'd use a little bit of contrast and just have the big sun in the background just backlighting everything. I thought it looked quite nice. So I'm going to show you the photograph. Now I'm going to move myself a little bit further away from the water because the tide is getting a little bit frisky now. I'm going to go see what else we can take from Hayburn Wyke this morning. Alright, so what I'm doing is, there's a big rock on the beach down here. It's like it's kind of flat rock. And I'm wondering if I can use that as a bit of a foreground interest, leading up to some slightly greener rocks, a little bit of the tide coming in, some haze. I'm sure you can see that around there. There's some haze still lingering around, leading up to cliffs back there. Now, all the sunrise and all the colour and everything has since passed. So I'm kind of wondering if black and white might be the order of the day now. I'm going to set the camera up on the tripod, have a little look, see if this image is going to work, because I think there's something there, but I'm just not sure what just yet. So I'm going to set the camera up, spend a few minutes just figuring out the composition and figure out how we're going to take this. But I really do like this rock with the green, with the haze and the cliffs in the background. So I'm going to set this up on the tripod and have a little poke around and see what we can do with this next image. Alright, so I've set this shot up now. So what I've got, well, the big rock down there coming in at the bottom right hand corner of the frame. I've got it dominating that corner of the photograph. Now we've got a little cluster of like, I don't know if like grey brown rocks just off to the left hand side down there. Then we've got the green rocks coming in a bit further back. Then we've got the haze and the cliffs, a little bit of the sky in the background. Now what I'm finding with this is it needs to be a photo merge, a photo bracket, a HDR bracket, because there's a lot of dynamic range between the dark rocks and the bright sky. So what I'm going to do, starting off 2 stops overexposed, so f10, ISO 100 and a fifth of a second using a 2-second timer. There's the first one taken. So that essentially just blows out the sky, but it gives all the detail in the rocks in the foreground. I'm going to take the next one, I'll stop underexposed. So that's at a 10th of a second, f10, ISO 100, and then bring it all the way down to the middle exposure, which is obviously a 20th of a second, f10 and ISO 100 again. So there's a photo merge. It's going to give us everything from the bright sky to the dark rocks. It's going to give us all that detail. So I'm going to go home, I'm going to merge that in Lightroom, and you're going to see it now. Alright, so we've moved off of the beach now. We've come up onto the cliff tops. And you see there's all these gnarly, twisty, mossy old trees around here now. I'm thinking I might try and take a few snaps with this 7-8 and the 10-18mm lens. Now, the only problem I can maybe foresee with that is the lens is maybe a little bit on the wide side for that. Even at 18mm, you get in, what, 24-ish millimeters. That might be a little bit too wide, but we may be able to get up close to the trees and really exaggerate some of the twists and everything using the wide angle lens on this. So I'm going to take a couple of snapshots around here and just get my bearings and everything, and then we'll pick the video up once I've got some photos that I feel comfortable sharing. So let's go take some photos of some trees with this camera and this lens. Let's have a bit of fun, let's have a chill out for a bit. Okay, so one of the good things about using the lens this wide, whether it be on a full frame camera or a crop camera, is you can get away with using slightly slower shutter speeds because of the wide angle. You don't get the motion blur and the camera shake at the wide angle, so you can get away with using slightly slower shutter speeds. On top of that, this 10-18 does come with image stabilization, which really does help. In fact, in terms of from a video making standpoint, I would call this the vlog lens. It's an ultra wide angle lens. You can get your face in, you can get your arm in, but it's also image stabilized, which really does help, specifically for video recording, but for stills as well. But this is a good lens for video recording. So I've just been walking around taking some handheld photographs of some of the trees around here. There's some mossy, twisty trees. It looks quite cool. So here's a little montage of some of the photographs that I've taken of the trees with this lens. Okay, so thank you very much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching me use my Canon 7D and Dave's destroying my... well, he's destroying his stuff, not my stuff.
Keep it in, blooper reel.
Bloopers. We'll start again, shall we? So thank you very much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching me use my Canon 7D and my 10-18mm EFS lens. It's a fun little lens to use and it's very inexpensive. It does also take some really nice images and the image quality is exceptional for such a cheap little lens. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you enjoyed it a bit more than that, there is a subscribe button down there. You can always hit that and you'll see more nonsense from me in the future. So until the next time, it is peace and goodbye.